So now we've got our dry fitting done. We're at the point now where we've got to start making some cuts. Before we make any cuts, we've got to measure twice. So let's move over to our installation and get to measuring. So we'll start with these simple cuts along the side. And what we'll do is we'll put our measuring tape right up against the wall. And right to the edge of this tile measures 4 1/4 inches. We've got a little bit of space there to play with because of our grout line. We want to take that into consideration. We also want to take into consideration what we're using for baseboard. So in this case, we're using a 1/2 inch baseboard, which means that if your cuts aren't perfect, you're going to be just fine because you've got about 3/8 of an inch to play with. So if I measure this tile, again, I've got 4 1/4 inches. The hexagons happen to be 8 inches wide. So if I take my pencil and I measure 4 inches, which just happens to be right down the middle of this tile. We'll cut this right down the center of that tile, and we'll be able to use this tile. We'll only be able to use this side of this tile once. So keeping that in mind, we're going to use this side of the tile to continue this pattern. The other side we'll keep, and we might be able to use it on the other side. So we'll go into measuring these guys here. I'll put my measuring tape up against the wall, and I'm going to measure right into this little valley here. I've got 2 3/8 of an inch, and if I take my measuring tape, put it at 2 3/8, we're lucky. We've actually, if I take my straight edge and I join these 2 points here, I can draw a line across here, and flip my tile, draw that line across these points, and do the same thing over here. Because of the pattern that we have, we're actually able to get 3 pieces out of 1 tile. Now every single installation, every pattern has its own set of circumstances, so constantly be looking for creative ways to sort of be efficient with your material. Let's go make some cuts. All right, so we're ready to start cutting. We've got our measurements marked on our tile, and we've got our 4-inch angle grinder with our continuous rim diamond blade. Our Tile Hero kit contains the best blade that we've ever found for cutting cement tile. A little bit of personal protection equipment to talk about. I've got some earplugs, a dust mask, some glasses on, and I've got this nice little workbench we're going to use as a cutting board, just a scrap piece of wood to cut on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our grinder blade and we're going to aim for just behind the tile first, sort of let that get down into our cutting board a little bit, and then we're just going to slowly move our way through the line and get to the very end, hopefully with a successful cut. All right, how do we do? Looks like we got a really nice straight cut with some nice sharp ends on it. Looks good. All right, so we've seen how to cut a tile dry. Let's show you how to cut a tile wet. We've already got our measured tile set up on the wet saw tray, and we're gonna line it up with our blade. And make our cut. And there it is, nice clean cut.